Civil War is a haunting take speculative war film, splintering the United States into 4 distinct factions. The film doesn't dive too deeply into the origins or specifics of the conflict that eventually overtook the country, instead keeping the focus grounded on 4 reporters who make their way through what remains of the United States. This means the setting isn't fully explored, allowing different opposing forces to rally against one another. Much of the film takes place in the Loyalist states, which have remained in the Union. There's no major visit to the other 3 major factions and their territory. This allows Civil War writer, director Alex Garland to focus on the moments of humanity and inhumanity on both sides of the conflict, underscoring Civil War's themes of war and human nature beyond the modern political divide in the United States. However, it's worth looking at the breakdown of the conflict and how it has expanded across North America. Beyond the remaining Loyalist states, several independent republics have found common ground to form Civil War's most important alliances. This highlights the severity of the situation, with several unexpected partnerships forming in light of the president's increasing atrocities in Civil War. California and Texas are the Western forces. The biggest states have a big pre-scene in Civil War. An unnamed soldier brandishes an assault rifle in Civil War, 2024. 2 of the largest states in the Union, California and Texas, are depicted in Civil War as the Western forces. In the universe of Civil War, these 2 states seceded from the Union to form their own individual republics, the Second Republic of Texas and the Republic of California respectively. Despite their wildly different politics in real life, the 2 have become steadfast allies in Civil War due to their shared enemy. As explained by the writer, director after a screening of the film, Garland's Civil War united California and Texas specifically to avoid any themes of specific political strife. Instead, the 2 radically different governments have united in the goal to bring down the Loyalist United States due to the expanded powers of Nick Offerman's president, who is depicted as a fascist leader within the film. This fits alongside the Western forces as depicted in the film. They are portrayed as willing to work alongside the independent press, helping to keep them alive. This alliance also proves to be the film's ultimate victor, winning the titular war. Civil War's 3rd act takes place during the Western forces' successful advance into Washington, D.C. and features the execution of the president. Most North states are part of the New People's Army Alliance. The New People's Army Alliance has a massive amount of land. A military camp is airlifted in Civil War, 2024. Hinted throughout the film, the New People's Army Alliance has a relatively minor role in Civil War. It's established that many northern states, such as Idaho, Minnesota, Montana, North Dakota, Oregon, South Dakota, Utah, Washington and Wyoming followed Texas and California in seceding. While the population of these states may not match California and Texas, together this army quietly controls a large portion of the North American continent. With much of A24 Civil War taking place on the East Coast as Lee, Joel, Jesse, and Sammy head towards Washington, D.C., there's no time spent elsewhere in the continent. The New People's Army Alliance is suggested to be among the forces closing in on D.C. by the end of the film. This plays into the underlying hints towards the nature of Civil War's central conflict. The film's intent was to showcase how even when the country is tearing itself apart, much of the United States would remain united in the face of a fascist regime taking over the government. Despite the numerous political differences that likely exist between them, the New People's Army Alliance seems more than willing to join the Western forces in bringing down the Loyalist states.